Why do you prefer buffet versus regular or a la carte restaurants?
Well, buffet, you get a lot of variety. You know, you have so much variety. You have, if you want to eat Southern food, you'll find it at a buffet. You want to eat Chinese food, you'll find it at a buffet. You want to eat Mexican food, you'll find it at a buffet. You'll find a little bit of everything. So variety is definitely probably the number one reason why I would prefer buffet over a regular restaurant.
Okay, nice. So you mentioned about like Southern food, Chinese food, and Mexican food, all are in buffet.
Yeah.
So which one you like the most amongst the buffet?
My favorite one is probably a restaurant called Furs Buffet. Furs, it's very classic here in the valley, and it's very clean. It's very has a lot of variety and good quality food. Quality is also
Your
really
food.
important.
So quality includes the
Treat each
freshness of the
dish
food,
fresh as if it was they
or,
were selling
or
it
it like the
individually
taste of
and not taste and are definitely freshness. You can tell when something's been out there for a while, where the heat comes from the lamp and not from the dish. You can tell that right away. And Furs is a restaurant that emphasizes on freshness.
freshness. Why you decided to come to a buffet restaurant um, compared to a regular a la carte restaurant?
Well, first of all, I'm a student. For students, it's kind of reasonable option to get a good meal at a reasonable price. So that's why I like buffet. And I always like Chinese food. And this restaurant, especially, they have a good rating. So I prefer to come over here.
Okay. So why did you like plan to come over here? Just only for like of the food choices or for some
Yeah,
other
they have
reason?
wide ranges of food. I saw their collection pretty good. Their taste is good, and their rating is also good as compared to the other places. So that's what I like.
I see. So when you come over to this restaurant, what kind of foods do you normally prefer when you come over here?
Like fried rice, chicken fry, the shrimp. They have a lot of fishes. Their what do we say? Their sushis are good. They have ice creams and all. Many items they have.
Okay, so prior to coming over here, do you also check some other restaurants like this, or you just
Yeah, I've
come
been to
over
other
here?
restaurants also. Yeah, but after having a buffet, trying a couple of other options, I finally choose this one. I still go some other places, but this one is one of my favorite.
I see.
Buffet, you pay same amount, you see price, you get fish, and you say, oh, I'm still a little bit more hungry, I'm gonna get something else. And so it's a variety, so you can eat as much as you want. Also, um, it's more bang for your buck. You know, I'm very picky on what I spend my money on. And so, like I said, I'd rather get it's more economic. Also, I would guess instead of a restaurant or a buffet, you eat more, pay the same amount at a restaurant when you eat one plate and you're still hungry. So I think that's my opinion on that.
So how do you decide which buffet you go for? You already mentioned that why you go to buffet, right?
Yeah.
Well, big bang for the buck and like more food, more economical. Now, if you can specify, give some examples, what kind of buffet you go for?
Alright, so like sour foods, well, we live in the south, so I'm used to chicken, I'm used to beans and rice, but when you go to the Chinese buffet, you got orange chicken, you got, sushi, you got these different, the culture that I go to, like really a Chinese restaurant, I get Chinese food, and it's like a runaway from the food that I typically eat here in the valley, like beans, rice, regular barbecue chicken, rather than southern food that I'm already growing up, that I'm already used to for 18 years, so it becomes real bland, but when I want something different, I go to a Chinese restaurant, a Chinese buffet.
So apart from Chinese buffet, any other kind of buffet do you go for?
No, not really. I haven't seen any of besides Chinese buffets here in the valley. I would like to try another one, like Indian or maybe African buffet. I know there's African buffets in Dallas, but I've seen those before, but I haven't tried those yet. But yeah, I would like to try some other ones, but I can't say because I've never tried them before.
When I go to buffet restaurant, I consider it as a cheat day. Yeah, it's a cheat day for me. So yeah, I can eat whatever I want, but still, I'm the vegetable person. I'm a vegan person, so I prefer more vegetable dishes. Yeah, but I consider it as my cheat day. Well, I'm not sure, but I think this is yakisoba, and this is like there's a special chicken dish. Yeah, this one is good. It's pretty good. And this one is for like stir fry. Yeah. I think like all of them are good. Like, I know because I only choose the food that I want to eat, and I only choose the appropriate like portion that that I can eat. So I don't get that leftover.
Why do you prefer buffet versus regular restaurants?
I like it because there's a lot of food variety, and also it's the quantity of the food. Got some beef and broccoli, zucchini, some veggies, and over here I got chicken and I think it's shrimp and some rice. And I decided to get this because I wanted some vegetables with the meat. But also I chose these kinds of meats because I know they're not spicy. I like the sweet kind of meat. And I got some rice because I feel that I need to have that veggies, meat, and rice or something like that. And if I have more space, I'll probably get some soup after.
How do you relate your food in a buffet with your health?
I usually don't think about my health when I'm eating at a buffet. I don't think it's healthy. I think it's usually very unhealthy. So I guess I don't really think about it as being a healthy option. Even though they have salads, I don't think it's very healthy.
So, and how about like the food leftovers? Like normally, do you leave food in a buffet?
Not really, because I do try to eat as much as I can. I still measure myself. I don't get like huge portions. I'll take whatever I know I'm gonna eat. So I usually don't have leftovers.
So according to you, so going to a buffet is kind of like an unhealthy experience.
I would say so, yes.
Like, I know because I only choose the food that I want to eat, and I only choose the appropriate like portion that I can eat. So I don't get that leftover.
Okay, thank you.
Like I said, just to get away from the real blandness of the food that I eat all the time. Like I said, beans, rice, the Mexican daily meals that we eat every day. So it's like running away.
Running away from your beans and rice.
Yeah.
So if you can like elaborate a little bit more about the kind of food, name some food
orange
items.
chicken, like I said, orange chicken. You know, when you're trying to be economical, your food you get the cheapest, like beans and rice. But then once in a while, chicken. And so that's why when I want to gorge on chicken, I'll come here, pay $10, and I can eat as much chicken as I want because you have very little of it. Or orange chicken. I don't know how to make orange chicken, so I come here and I eat it. I love it.
Yeah, okay, got it. And which food items do you have more and which food items do you have less in the buffet?
I eat meats and pastas a lot because I don't really eat that much. Like I said, at my house, the fish, I hate fish. I can't stand it. I know some people like fish. I don't. I just think it tastes gross, the texture. But meat, I just raised on meat for
So like meat and pasta are like your favorite when you go to buffet. There are like different reasons of choosing restaurant. So with whom normally you go to a buffet, like by yourself or close friends?
Typically, I go to buffet by myself with my friends. Sometimes, family, of course. And of course, for a heavy meal, it may be for the dinner or for the lunch. When I tend to eat more. But when I go to any expensive or exclusive restaurant, I mostly go in the evening or night. Okay, maybe with special someone or maybe sometimes with a client. Okay.
So how do you decide which buffet you go for?
I guess restaurants that I've been to in the past, obviously, but I go because of word of mouth. People say, this buffet is really good, you should try it out. So I guess people, the way they have responded to it.
So if you can specify or give example the kind of buffet you already mentioned though, but when you decide to go to a buffet, so how do you decide whether you are hungry or you are just tempted to go, or what makes you go to a buffet?
It just depends on how hungry I've been, especially if I haven't been eating well for the past couple days or something, and I feel extra hungry that day, then probably a buffet would be a really good portion because you get to eat as much as you want.
As much as you want. So
Yeah.
that's what you look for, as much as you want. Okay. And you already don't mention, but I just want to repeat my question, which type of buffets do you visit often?
I guess the most popular ones that are popular because of their freshness, because of their quality of food, and the taste of food.
Okay, so if you can name some of them, like the kind.
First Buffet is kind of like a very homey, southern kind of place where you get some fried chicken, you get some chicken fried steak, just foods like mashed potatoes, things like that. That would be first restaurant. Chinese Buffet definitely be one, which probably in Valley Grand China Buffet is a really good one. Usually smaller buffets. There's one, I don't know the name of it, but it's in Alamo, it's next to Walmart. It's a small buffet, and those are really good too because they emphasize on the freshness as well. As if you have so many kinds of food, you lose some of that quality, some of that freshness. So small buffets like that one would be a good one.
Would be a good one. So what do you like about Asian buffet?
Asian buffets?
Asian or Chinese buffet?
Yeah, just the unlimited shrimp and seafood. Seafood is very expensive, and so definitely in a Chinese buffet you get to have unlimited expensive food. So that's one thing I like about.
And in this plate I have onion rings, cheese wonton, fried shrimp, chicken nuggets. Yeah.
And which soup is that?
This is the egg drop soup. Yeah, my favorite.
Okay.
There is a lot of options, and I don't like to move around too much. So I actually typically, when I take the main course, I go with 2 plates. In one place I mostly take rice, and the other place I took the other items. However, I try to keep like less amount of each item and try to cover as many items as I can. But those items that I like more, I try to take more. Like the fish and the fried fish. There's a chicken stick, chicken nuggets. Yeah.
When you take the food, like if you can tell me about the portion size and how many items do you take in a single plate?
I usually take a variety of 3. Like I know this one had noodles, the chicken on the stick, and the orange chicken, and that's just a sugar biscuit. But I get in like a little quantities of each, so that way after each plate I know how much, I'm still a little bit hungry, let me get the same amount, or maybe even less, so that way I don't eat past them to the point where I'm full, and I'm just gorging and being glutton about it.
So typically how many plates do you normally have when you go to a buffet?
Two when I'm a little hungry, I haven't eaten, I skip lunch, I eat 2 plates, but like if I eat all day, or I came back from work or from sports or something, I'll eat around maybe 3-4 plates.
Like 4 plates?
Yeah,
4 plates, like a main course meals?
Yeah,
Ex-
I'm hungry.
excluding dessert?
Excluding dessert, yeah.
Excluding dessert. Okay, thank you. When you go to buffet, which food items do you have more and which food items do you do not have or less at buffet?
Yeah, the more I have, I guess the foods that I have the most are like entree foods, the big portion foods, the main dish foods, I try to stay away from the sides, that way I can enjoy the better foods a little bit more. So definitely the shrimp, definitely the fish, chicken, steak, ribs, just things like that.
So when you say that you prefer the main foods or the entree foods, like do you do any kind of like calculation in your mind that these foods are expensive if you have to cook at home, or if you have to go to a regular restaurant or a la carte restaurant and strategize like when selecting like foods in the buffet restaurant?
Yeah, for sure. I make sure that that I'm getting what I'm paying for. So if I were to cook this at home, it'd be a little bit more expensive because of the amount of food that I get to eat here. You know what I mean? So it would definitely be more expensive. I make that calculation, and if let's say that it's not worth it, that it would be more expensive at home, or I wouldn't enjoy it as much, then I wouldn't come.
And regarding the portion size, how many items do you normally take in a single plate when you go?
I try every plate I get. I don't try not to get that much because I want to first of all enjoy what I'm eating. So if I see a lot of food, it'd be too much and maybe it doesn't go well together. So I try to get like the steaks first. Like the first plate was all seafood, and so I try to enjoy the seafood first, some shrimp, some fish, and then the second time I get some chicken, some meat, some steak, and I kind of just kind of balance out the plates. And not that much, because if I see a lot of food in my plate and I eat it once, I won't be able to go back for some more. So I get a little bit of everything. and that way I get to enjoy a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So normally, say for example, if you're hungry, how many plates do you normally have if you go to a buffet?
Usually, when I'm hungry, I'll probably eat maybe 4 to 5 plates. Yeah, I know I'm kind of skinny, but I can put away some food. But again, if you think about it, the plates that I get aren't that much, so I just kind of fill up to the line maybe, and that would be it. I don't overpile. So 4 or 5 plates about this size.
This side.
Yeah.
And if you can tell me how many hours prior to the buffet you stay empty stomach, or you do not consume any food when you plan to go to a buffet?
Okay. So usually buffets are kind of planned. Maybe the day before we kind of get some friends together. Hey, let's go this, let's go that. So I'll make a conscious effort not to eat as much. Maybe some cereal in the morning. Just a small lunch if I have time for lunch, or if we're gonna meet at lunch, I'll make sure I won't eat breakfast and anything like that. Also, for the dietary benefits, you know, I don't want to be eating fatty foods all day and stuff like that. So if I know I'm gonna cheat or eat kind of unhealthy, I'll make sure to minimize the amount of food that I eat in the afternoon, in the morning, and then that way I can enjoy the meal later on.
So you can say that before your like a meal in the buffet, like 5 to 6 hours you stay in this stomach?
About 5 to 6 hours. Sure.
5 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
And when before coming over here, just want to have an idea, like for how many hours normally do you have a meal, or you have some kind of food before coming over here, or do you plan to stay in empty stomach before coming
In
over
general,
here?
I mean, I have like 2 main foods in a day, and I typically have my dinner pretty much at this time. So yeah, the last heavy meal I had in the morning. Yeah,
So at what time did you have your last meal in the morning?
it's like at 8.
8 a.m. in the morning,
8
and
a.m.
now it's like 5:30 in the
Yeah,
evening.
so now I'm sort of having my dinner. Yes.
So typically you do not eat maybe for 6 hours or 7 hours
In between, I have snacks.
snacks.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Like,
typically like 3 to 4 hours
Right.
gap you
Right.
need in
In
order
between,
to
I take small snacks and everything.
small snacks and
Yeah.
everything in the afternoon. Okay. So what do you normally like about this buffet? You mentioned some of the food items, but typically when you come to this particular restaurant, what particular like the dishes or menu do you like?
Well, there are a couple of fish items which I like. I forgot their name, but there are some fried options, and also some baked fishes which I like. And they have a Mongolian buffet which I like. I like a lot. And they have in chicken there is a pineapple chicken, General TSO, and a couple of others which I like. I pretty much try all of them.
I see. So basically when you come over here at this particular Asian buffet, so do you go to any other buffet, not an Asian buffet, or maybe some other Asian buffet?
Typically, apart from this Chinese buffet, I try like Indian buffet. It's good, and different other Asians. I went to some Vietnamese restaurants also, but I mostly prefer this, like Vietnamese, Chinese, or South
Those are also
Indian.
buffet, or those are not buffet?
Those were there's an Indian buffet over here. We do not have too many buffet options here in McAllen area, but there is an Indian buffet, which one I like. But the Vietnam one, which I tried, that was not a buffet.
That was not a buffet. That
was
can
a
be like
regular
like you like the quantity or you like the quality of the freshness. So what do you like when you get your meal?
Quantity, I was raised in a house to eat all your food no matter what. It's, food's food. And so, well, in this case, meat, it's very rare in my house, but it's super good in any case. So I get as much meat as I can at a buffet. I know it's very expensive for the good kind, like the ribs, the steaks. They're very expensive compared to chicken and just brisket and all those things.
So do you do any kind of like calculation, or do you have anything in your mind when you choose food when you go to buffet, like the food which are like very expensive to make at home, or food which are expensive in a regular restaurant? Do you have in that mind, or you just select the food which one you like it, whether it doesn't matter regardless what the price is outside?
No, like I know here it's like $10 for one person. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe if I got this meal at another restaurant, it'd be $9, but I'll still be hungry after. And so, like the ribs are super expensive. Half rack rib soup is like $6 to $7. And I'm thinking, maybe if I have these 2 ribs and the meat that I'm eating, I'm probably eating more than what I'm paying for. So that to me, I feel better knowing that also.
But when you select food in a buffet restaurant, so normally you go for the food which is like more expensive outside.
Of course, definitely. Yeah.
So like any food, like for example beef or like chicken or like food you think that is expensive in a regular restaurant, so
Like
you
if they
go
had
for.
if they had steak there, I'll be attacking the steak like crazy right now. Yeah, sure, that's definitely.
You mentioned you like some of the dishes and you name them. So do you still have the same kind of food in a la carte or regular restaurants, or that is and those are the food you normally have when you come to a buffet restaurant?
Yeah, in those restaurants, since I can only get to try 1 or 2 items, so on those places I get a little picky. But over there I try like whichever I like the most.
So for example, you had the egg drop soup and other like onion rings
Yeah.
and like chicken nuggets and popcorn shrimp. So do you still order the same food when you go to a regular restaurant?
Yeah, chicken. I mean, it might not be that much variation, but yeah, I try to have these things. But in case of having Chinese food, I mostly come to the buffet. But whenever I want to try the food of other cultures, like Vietnamese, maybe Lebanese, in that case, I try the other restaurants. Yeah,
Those restaurants are not buffet restaurants.
those are not buffet restaurants, right?
So what do you like and dislike about buffet?
Okay, so buffets, for the most part, not every buffet, of course, has a bad reputation for being a little unclean. So I definitely do go to buffets with that in mind, and I kind of make sure to look at the place first and see kind of if it's clean or not, if it's fresh or not. And a lot of times, unfortunately, that's the case. So I definitely look forward to cleanliness. That's one thing I dislike from buffets. What I do like is that just the amount of variety, the amount of food. A lot of times it is good food, so I enjoy that.
Okay, and if you can elaborate a little bit, like what do you dislike most? Like the kind of food, or it's
Yeah.
more calorie food, or
Probably that it's there aren't that many variations of healthy food, right? So maybe that it's not there isn't that much option for healthy food.
I see. So how do you relate your food at a buffet with your health?
Well, I definitely do know that most buffets aren't, I guess, aimed towards healthiness. So if I'm looking at myself and I'm trying to stay healthy, I stay away from most buffets because they're not aimed towards healthiness. But if I were to go to a buffet and it is filled with portions of good, healthy food, I would make sure to go and not necessarily go to fill up, right, with the all you can eat, but go to enjoy a little bit of everything and see that variety and enjoy that variety.
And that variety.
Yeah.
But do you think that while enjoying a little of all kinds of food you like, it increases your portion size?
Oh, it definitely does. It does increase my portion size, but that's where I would aim to get a little bit of everything in a small amount to kind of measure up. And those are calculations that one makes before you even go to the buffet, or once you're there, kind of look at how much you want to eat and how much of a little bit of everything do you want to get to measure up to the amount that you want to eat.
And if you can tell me, like, when you typically go to buffet, how much is your wastage amount? How much food do you normally have to kind of not waste, but kind of leftovers you do not like because of the quality, or because you're filled up, or because of any other reason, or because you want to try some other? If you can give some examples.
Yeah, usually the amount of food, I mean, if you see some of these plates that I've left here, it's food that I disliked, that I was eating, and maybe I didn't like the temperature of the food, I didn't like the texture. So I would say, just leftover bits. For example, the shrimp, you always have to leave those tails. But just things that I kind of didn't like. For example, the texture was a little bit dry for this. So I'll just leave it there, and I don't usually feel bad for that because I eat most of it. So
Okay, so if you can tell us more of your experience in a buffet, like you already told about what kind of food you like, how much quantity, and the kind of pattern of eating. But if you can add on some other experiences of your buffet experience.
Definitely when I was a kid, I eat tons. I was always hungry as a kid. I know for me, for a household with a tight budget, we wouldn't go to buffets a lot, but when we do, we would like it because it was a variety of food. It's cool. Like you go to a Chinese buffet, you see these statues. It looks nice. The tables look nice. Everything it looks cool. And as a kid, I grew up and that looks cool. I want to go there. Plus the food is good. Unlimited vanilla ice cream or just unlimited pudding. To a kid, that was awesome.
And if you can tell, like, for buffets pertaining to a culture, what do you think about the culture of the country or region? Depends on kind of buffet you are going, whether it's Asian buffet, Chinese buffet, Mexican buffet.
Oh, when I go to Chinese buffet, you see the paintings and stuff, like, oh, that's cool. It's unique compared to daily life and what we were seeing while we're Mexican paintings, the regular paint. When you go to Chinese buffet, you don't see that very often. That looks cool. Or like you see statues, like I wonder who that is. I mean, what's the importance of that in the culture? I think it looks cool. Like the culture that you go to the buffet of, they conform it to me to say, oh look, this is how it looks, or this is how they're trying to propose it to you, how it looks, how it feels to be in that kind of culture, I guess.
So that makes you like decide to choose a buffet, or the food is the main thing you go for?
The food.
The food is
I
the
like
main
Chinese
thing.
food compared to Mexican.
I mean, if you can tell me what kind of food you got in your plate.
So I got special chicken. I don't know why it's called special. It's really good. I got the fried jalapeno stuffed with cheese, and I got the 2 ribs. Now, when I was deciding what I wanted to get, I was like, chicken ribs are really hard to make. For me, it takes like an hour to make the ribs because the way I want them. But for here, they were just they were just right there for me to get, so I grabbed them. I felt like I need some more meat and the jalapeno. I don't really eat jalapenos all the time because never like really. I don't know. I like eating them once in a while. But yeah, I just got a little bit more meat. But just different texture, different flavor. I know my first plate, I got the chicken on the stick. It was really dry, very little meat. Second plate, I got more meat, but it was pepper beef. So that was a thing. Didn't really taste good. So then I got the special chicken, which I think it's good now. The 2 ribs, which I know I can sink my teeth into, and the fried jalapeno, just to spice it up a little bit. So that's what I got. Here I got special chicken. I think it was a seasoning that got it. I know I had high expectations for it. I tasted the first part of it and I was like, oh, it's good. But as I got towards the end, more crunchier parts, it was real salty. And then the fried stuffed jalapeno with the cheese that's inside it, I bet it was spicy, but also the jalapeno stuff was bitter. Like it wasn't good anymore. And then for the ribs, the first part was good. It was good texture, good amount of meat. But as soon as I got into it, it was like that squishy, cold stuff in the middle again. I just totally quit at the first taste of that. So that's why I stopped there.
People on YouTube actually like get paid for eating on YouTube. We should do that.